Imagine this. You've packed your bags, booked your flight, and you're ready for the adventure of a lifetime. But when you step off the plane, instead of a warm welcome, you're met with suspicious looks, endless questioning, and a growing sense that you don't belong. It's as if you've walked into a party where you're clearly not wanted. Awkward, right? For many UK citizens in 2025, this is the harsh reality. Today, we're revealing 10 countries that have closed their doors to Brits, once dream destinations, now turned cold due to political tension, cultural rifts, or outright hostility. Some of these places may shock you, and the number one destination will leave you stunned. Ready to find out where? Let's dive in. But wait, before we dive fully into this, take 2 seconds and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on our future amazing content. And hit the like button. 10 countries where UK citizens are not welcome in 2025. 1. North Korea, the ultimate off-limits destination. Imagine staring at the imposing, silent border of North Korea, with its watchtowers and barbed wire, knowing that beyond lies a world unlike any other, one shrouded in secrecy, control, and an air of constant surveillance. For the average traveler, North Korea feels more like stepping into a dystopian novel than embarking on a holiday. But if you're from the UK in 2025, the prospect of visiting this hermit kingdom is even more remote. Tensions between the two countries have been building for years, reaching a point where it's nearly impossible for a Brit to set foot inside. Even if you manage to secure a rare spot on one of the highly controlled state tours, the experience would be anything but typical. From the moment you land in Pyongyang, every aspect of your stay is meticulously curated. Picture this. You're ushered off the plane into a quiet, sterile airport where smiles are rare, and everyone is dressed in identical drab uniforms. A stern guide follows your every step, dictating where you go, what you see, and how you interact. Even a simple attempt to snap a quick photo could result in confiscated equipment or worse, accusations of espionage. You can forget about wandering freely through local markets or engaging in casual conversations with locals. The North Korean government fears what outsiders might witness, and that fear keeps every interaction controlled, every movement watched. Social media, don't even think about it. Posting a selfie of yourself at the Kim Il-sung Square, or even trying to send a text back home could put you in a perilous situation. There's no free internet here. The feeling of being constantly observed follows you like a shadow. Imagine the eyes of the state always upon you, even in the privacy of your hotel room, where rumors persist that every phone call, every movement, and every word is being recorded. It's not just unsettling, it's downright chilling. For most UK citizens, the risks far outweigh any sense of adventure. What could have been a once-in-a-lifetime cultural experience turns into an atmosphere of paranoia, where one wrong step could have you detained for questioning, or worse, caught in a diplomatic nightmare. North Korea in 2025 is, without a doubt, the ultimate destination to avoid for Brits. 2. Iran, a land of suspicion. Picture this. You step off the plane in Tehran, feeling a stark change in atmosphere the moment your feet hit the ground. The air is thick with an unspoken tension, and it's not just the heat that makes your skin prickle. As a UK citizen in 2025, landing in Iran feels less like the beginning of an exciting adventure and more like entering a zone of suspicion where every move could be misinterpreted. As you make your way through the bustling airport, you can't shake the feeling that all eyes are on you. The once famous hospitality of the Iranian people feels overshadowed by the undercurrent of political strain between the UK and Iran. You approach the customs desk, where the officer's gaze lingers a little too long on your passport. The questions begin. Why are you here? Who do you know? What's your purpose? Each one feels like an accusation rather than a formality. For British travelers, this isn't just about stringent security checks. It's about navigating a country where your nationality could make you a target for suspicion. Over the years, UK-Iran relations have gone from bad to worse, and travelers from the UK are viewed through a lens of mistrust. There's a history of foreign nationals, especially Westerners, being detained on vague charges. Imagine being stopped and held for hours simply because of where you were born, with little to no explanation given, as officers sort through your personal belongings, scrutinizing your every possession. Once you leave the airport, the sense of unease doesn't fade. Iran is a beautiful, complex country with a rich history, but as a Brit in 2025, you'll find the beauty overshadowed by the constant feeling of being watched. In public spaces, people might avoid direct eye contact with you, fearing repercussions for engaging with foreigners. Want to explore the vibrant bazaars or historical landmarks? Sure, but know that government surveillance is everywhere, and any attempt to deviate from the prescribed tourist areas could result in unwanted attention. And then there's the unsettling reality that Iran has detained foreign nationals in the past, using them as leverage in diplomatic spats. Imagine planning your holiday itinerary, knowing that if something goes wrong, your government might not be able to get you out easily. For UK citizens, this risk isn't just a distant possibility, it's very real. The allure of Persian culture, with its stunning mosques, bustling streets, and ancient ruins, just isn't enough to counter the overwhelming sense of danger. Iran in 2025 has become a place where, for Brits, the thrill of exploration is tempered by the ever-present threat of suspicion and fear. 3. Russia. The unwelcome chill. Russia, once a bucket list destination for its towering cathedrals, enchanting winter landscapes, and cultural treasures, is no longer the inviting land it used to be. Picture yourself stepping off the plane in Moscow, greeted not by the excitement of adventure, but by a tension so thick you can almost taste it. The grandeur of Red Square, the shimmering onion domes of St. Basil's Cathedral, and the elegance of St. Petersburg's canals may still be stunning to the eye, but for UK citizens in 2025, they're overshadowed by an unsettling sense of unease. With political tensions between the UK and Russia at an all-time high, the atmosphere has grown cold, literally and figuratively. Imagine applying for a visa, only to be met with a labyrinth of restrictions and red tape that feels like it's designed to keep you out. It's not just about paperwork anymore, it's a message. The scrutiny begins before you even leave Heathrow. Now, imagine finally stepping into Russian territory, only to feel like eyes are always on you. Whether you're strolling through the snow-covered streets or sipping tea in a quaint cafe, surveillance is not a vague concern, it's a palpable reality. The once inviting streets of Moscow now feel more like a stage where every Brit is playing an unintentional role in a Cold War-era spy thriller. Every step, every conversation, feels like it could be monitored, and the invisible wall between us and them grows higher with every passing moment. Even a casual smile exchange with a local feels forced, strained by the weight of political friction. For Brits, a trip to Russia in 2025 isn't the cultural exploration it once promised. Instead, it's a journey filled with unease, constant awareness, and the unshakable feeling that you're being watched, questioned, and, at times, rejected. The once vibrant Russian charm has been replaced with an unwelcoming chill that leaves many UK travelers crossing this vast, historic nation off their travel lists entirely. 4. Venezuela. Beauty turned battleground. Imagine a land where towering mountains kiss the sky, where lush jungles stretch endlessly, and where golden beaches frame sparkling turquoise waters. Venezuela, a country once hailed as a natural paradise, was a dream destination for nature lovers and adventure seekers. The vibrant sounds of music in the air, the colorful streets of Caracas, the rhythm of life that seemed to beat to a carefree melody. This was the Venezuela that travelers knew and loved. But that picture-perfect vision has crumbled into chaos. In 2025, Venezuela has transformed into a battleground. Now, imagine touching down in Caracas and immediately feeling the weight of tension in the air. It's as if the country itself is holding its breath, caught between its natural beauty and the crushing force of political and economic collapse. Once a welcoming land of adventure, it has become a place where every step feels like a risk. For UK citizens, walking through the streets of Venezuela today feels like being constantly on edge. Picture this. You're exploring what should be a scenic, vibrant city, but instead, every glance over your shoulder reminds you of the danger lurking around every corner. Crime is rampant. Petty theft, kidnappings, and even violent attacks are part of daily life. Tourists, especially Westerners, have become targets, seen as walking opportunities for those desperate to survive in a crumbling economy. In this new Venezuela, law and order feel almost non-existent. The police are unreliable at best, corrupt at worst, and any sense of security you might have fades the moment you leave your hotel room. Imagine driving through once stunning landscapes, now obscured by poverty and unrest, with the knowledge that your next stop could be interrupted by violent protests, or worse, armed confrontation. The danger here is more than physical. It's emotional too. What should have been a place of warmth, excitement, and adventure now feels like an emotional battleground. The spirit of Venezuela, once vibrant and joyful, now seems weighed down by despair. And for travelers from the UK, it's not just about missing out on beauty. It's about stepping into a land where survival feels like the priority over exploration. What was once a paradise has become a perilous journey for Brits, leaving behind only memories of what this country used to be. That tropical escape you dreamed of. Venezuela, in all its beauty and turmoil, is one destination you'd be wise to reconsider. Oh, and by the way, I know you're liking this video already. Go ahead right now and show me some love by hitting the like button. Done. All right. 5. Afghanistan. Danger lurks at every turn. Afghanistan is not just another country on the map. It's a landscape carved out by decades of war, foreign intervention, and internal conflict. Picture stepping out of an airport and into a world where the scars of violence are etched into every corner. Bombed-out buildings line the streets, remnants of past battles. Military checkpoints dot the roads like reminders of a fragile peace, with armed soldiers watching every movement with piercing eyes. The air itself seems heavy, as if it's absorbed the sorrow of the countless lives lost over the years. For a UK citizen, the weight is even heavier. You carry with you not just your passport, but the burden of history. The legacy of British military involvement in a country that still resents outside interference. Every glance feels a little too long, and every conversation feels like it could shift from friendly to suspicious in an instant. You walk through a bustling market, but the chatter in Pashto and Dari seems distant, muffled by the underlying tension. You know that in a country like this, your very nationality could put you at risk. You're aware of extremist groups lurking in the shadows, waiting for the opportunity to target anyone they perceive as an enemy. It's not just about being cautious, it's about survival. In Afghanistan, the difference between life and death could be a wrong turn down a narrow street, or an innocent conversation with the wrong person. Even something as simple as asking for directions could spark a moment of fear. You feel it in your bones. This isn't a place for leisure or exploration. It's a place where survival instincts kick in, where every step is a calculated risk, and where every breath feels a little too shallow. The line between danger and safety is razor thin, and for many Brits, Afghanistan is a risk too great to take. 6. Belarus, where tensions boil over. Belarus, with its vast plains and picturesque cities, might seem like a peaceful Eastern European gem on the surface. But beneath that facade is a country simmering with political unrest, and if you're a UK citizen, you'll feel it the moment you arrive. Imagine stepping off the plane and immediately sensing the weight of suspicion hanging in the air. It's as though every person you pass is silently questioning your intentions, even if you're just here to explore. After the controversial elections that rocked the nation, the UK took a strong stance against the Belarusian government, and that tension has seeped into the everyday interactions of British travelers. The warm smiles of locals have been replaced with cautious, uncertain glances, A simple check-in at a hotel can feel more like an interrogation, with eyes scanning you for any sign of ulterior motives. You might find yourself wandering through Minsk, a city rich with history and beauty, but instead of marveling at the architecture, you're constantly aware of the heightened police presence. It's not the kind of place where you can let your guard down. The police seem to be everywhere, patrolling with a sense of purpose that leaves you feeling exposed, vulnerable. As a Brit, you're not just a tourist. You're a representative of a country that's openly criticized the Belarusian regime. That's not a position anyone would want to be in. The government keeps tight control over public life, and consular support for UK citizens is scarce, so if things go south, you're on your own. Imagine the anxiety of knowing that if something goes wrong, if you're questioned or detained, the usual safety nets that travelers rely on are nowhere to be found. It's a feeling of isolation that hangs over you, making every interaction feel like it could take a sudden hostile turn. Belarus might be beautiful, but for UK travelers, it's a beauty overshadowed by the constant undercurrent of political tension, a place where you're never quite sure who's watching or how they'll react to your presence. 7. Syria, war-torn and unforgiving. Syria. Just hearing the name conjures up images of bombed-out cities, crumbling infrastructure, and lives torn apart by relentless war. The country, once known for its rich history and vibrant culture, has become synonymous with tragedy. For most of us, it's hard to imagine the sheer devastation that Syria has endured for over a decade, but the scars of war run deep here. In 2025, Syria is still trapped in a state of chaos, a landscape marred by destruction and division. Now, picture yourself stepping into this environment as a UK citizen. The moment you land, there's no escaping the palpable tension. The streets, where the sounds of gunfire once echoed, are now filled with the weight of silence. But this silence isn't peaceful. It's unsettling, like the calm before a storm. Armed checkpoints greet you at nearly every corner, and the stares of the locals range from weary to wary. You're not just a tourist here. You're a foreigner, an outsider, and that makes you a potential target. In Syria, hostility towards Westerners is not just a political stance. It's a very real threat. You can't shake the feeling of being watched, not by the friendly eyes of a curious host, but by forces that could turn your visit into a nightmare in the blink of an eye. One wrong step, one misinterpretation, and you could find yourself caught up in something far more dangerous than you ever anticipated. For UK citizens, the idea of touring the ancient ruins of Palmyra or strolling through the streets of Damascus sounds tempting, but in reality, it's a fool's errand. The danger is far too high, and the possibility of getting trapped in a violent incident or worse is all too real. In 2025, Syria is a heartbreaking reminder of what once was a country rich in history, now devastated and off-limits. 8. Libya. The treasure that's too dangerous to visit. Libya, a land where ancient history and stunning landscapes collide. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine walking through the golden sands of the Sahara Desert, watching the sunset over the Mediterranean, or standing in awe of the Roman ruins of Leptis Magna. It's a place that once beckoned adventurers and history buffs alike. But in 2025, Libya's allure is tainted by the harsh reality of political unrest and violent conflict. Now let's take a deeper look at what it would really feel like to be a UK traveler here. Imagine stepping off the plane, hoping to take in the rich cultural heritage, only to find yourself immediately surrounded by an overwhelming sense of danger. You hear whispers of militias, warring factions, and kidnappings, not as distant possibilities, but as very real threats. The instability in Libya has turned this beautiful land into a ticking time bomb, where even the locals live with constant uncertainty. As you walk through the ruins of ancient cities like Cyrene, you can't help but be mesmerized by the sheer beauty and history that surrounds you. But every step forward feels like a gamble. There's no guarantee of safety here. Armed groups control large parts of the country, and foreigners, especially Westerners, are often caught in the crossfire, targeted for ransom or worse. Imagine the anxiety that grips you, knowing that the government can offer little to no protection. The treasure of Libya is undeniable. Its rich history, its stunning coastlines, its desert oases. But those treasures are locked behind a wall of danger that no one should be eager to climb over. What was once a land of explorers has turned into a place of peril, and for UK citizens, the risks of visiting far outweigh any reward. A simple trip could quickly escalate into a life-threatening situation, leaving you trapped in a country where escape might not be an option. In 2025, Libya is not just a dangerous destination. It's a treasure that's simply too costly to visit. No amount of historical beauty can overshadow the very real risk that looms over every traveler who dares to enter. 9. China, the giant that's shut its doors. China, once a land of fascination for British travelers and business moguls alike, has transformed in recent years into a place that feels more like a guarded fortress than a welcoming destination. Just a decade ago, Beijing's bustling markets, the Great Wall's historic grandeur, and the futuristic skyline of Shanghai were on the must-see lists of tourists from around the world. But now, for Brits, that charm has been buried under layers of tension and suspicion. Imagine stepping off the plane in China, once filled with excitement to experience this giant of a nation, only to feel a creeping sense of unease. From the moment you hand over your passport at immigration, the questions feel loaded. Each movement, each glance exchanged with an official feels as though it's being carefully observed. And in many ways, it is. The Chinese government's state-of-the-art surveillance system is designed to track everything, from your phone's location to the people you interact with. What was once a thrilling adventure now feels like navigating a maze of rules, restrictions, and silent observation. Every step feels choreographed by someone watching from afar. For UK citizens in 2025, these feelings of being monitored are more than just paranoia. The diplomatic relationship between the UK and China has been fraught with political tensions, accusations of spying, and economic battles. British businesses operating in China face tighter regulations, and British tourists are left to wonder if they've unknowingly crossed a line. The government's mistrust of Western nations, including the UK, means that you may be viewed as more than just a visitor. You could be perceived as a potential threat. Once, you might have spent your days exploring the Forbidden City or hiking through rice terraces. Now you're more likely to feel trapped in an Orwellian reality, where even a simple interaction could be misinterpreted. The wonder of China is still there, but for UK citizens, it's locked behind a thick wall of suspicion and control. 10. Venezuela, from paradise to peril. Venezuela, with its golden beaches, soaring mountains, and lush rainforests, was once a paradise for travelers seeking adventure and beauty. Imagine wandering through the streets of Caracas, feeling the pulse of vibrant markets, or hiking through the dense Amazonian jungle. For decades, this South American gem drew in those hungry for both culture and nature. But today, that vibrant dream has withered into something much darker, a place where danger is as constant as the sweltering heat. Imagine now landing in Venezuela in 2025. The moment you arrive, the country's hardships slap you in the face. The streets, once alive with color and music, now feel tense and fragile, as though they could erupt into chaos at any moment. For British citizens, Venezuela has become a land of great beauty wrapped in unpredictability. The bustling capital city, Caracas, feels like a powder keg of desperation. Economic collapse has left basic goods in short supply, and crime is rampant. It's not uncommon to see protests clogging the streets as civilians fight against corruption and crumbling infrastructure. As a foreigner, you're not just a tourist, you're a target. The political ties between Venezuela and the UK have been strained for years, with diplomatic disagreements leading to increased hostility. But it's the country's internal turmoil that really makes it dangerous for British travelers. Armed groups patrol areas once filled with eager tourists, And the risk of being caught in the crossfire, both figuratively and literally, is alarmingly high. Imagine trying to relax on a pristine beach while hearing the distant sound of gunfire, or wondering if your next meal will be interrupted by looters. What was once a slice of paradise now feels like a place where your safety is constantly in question. For UK citizens, this dramatic shift from paradise to peril means that Venezuela, despite its natural beauty, is no longer a destination for the faint of heart. A trip here in 2025 requires more than just packing a suitcase. It requires a heightened sense of caution and, frankly, a lot of luck. Because no matter how alluring its landscapes may be, the reality of Venezuela's instability outweighs any picturesque postcard. The bottom line: in 2025, traveling isn't just about picking a place from your bucket list. For UK citizens, it's about understanding the political and social landscapes that can drastically shape your experience. Places that once promised excitement, beauty, and culture, like China and Venezuela, now carry the weight of tension and danger. Before booking that next getaway, it's crucial to ask yourself, is it worth the risk? Safe travels don't just happen by chance. They happen with awareness, preparation, and choosing the right destination. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. And don't forget to like this video. Hit the subscribe button for more powerful content. See you in the next one.